On this week's test ride, we're going to analyze the all-new Yamaha SX Venom 400 and attempt to explain how this 7/8 size snowmobile fits into the big picture. Undeniably, there have been calls from almost every corner of the snowmo biz for a full-featured, high-value snowmobile. Some insiders would argue this equation has the potential to expand the sport and bring in new riders, while others assert the equation perfectly fits younger, smaller stature riders better than a full-on, full-size, real snowmobile. While we're never short on opinions around here, this burning issue still has us a little confounded as we search for a clear answer. A look around the new SX Venom should bring some clarity to the full-featured, high-value snowmobile paradigm. Before we dive in, I think it's important we disclose Polaris has met the criteria for a full-featured, high-value sled with last year's intro of the Indy Evo. The Evo carries an MSRP that's undeniably high value, and the sled can be tuned up to meet increasing performance expectations with factory-available suspension and engine mods, which transform the entry-level Evo into a full-on, trail-ready ride. Knowing Polaris has established the benchmark with the Evo, it's interesting to note that the SX Venom has taken the feature part of the equation to a new and higher level. The SX Venom debuts an all-new engine, the likes of which has never been seen in the snowmo biz. Under hood, the SX Venom uses a 400cc single-cylinder, liquid-cooled, SDI, counterbalanced and power valve-equipped engine for motivation. It produces an Evo-matching 65 horsepower, driving through a set of CV-Tech clutches with a drive axle-mounted hydraulic disc brake. You are no doubt wondering about the dimensions of the new Yamaha SX Venom. So, is this more of a toy snowmobile than a real sled? Even though Yamaha has referred to the SX Venom as a 7/8 size sled, once you climb aboard, it feels convincingly full-size. The sled has a full 121 by 14-inch wide 1-inch lug track with a dual-shock, torsion spring, uncoupled rear skid out back. Up front is Yamaha's wide-spaced AA arms without an anti-sway bar. While the nose of the SX Venom does appear a little stubby, when equipped with an optional front bumper, it does make the sled look proportionately correct. From behind the bars, there's a digital speedo odometer. Left side handlebar switchgear controls are moved down to the console and include hot grips, thumb warmer, and a reverse gear actuator. Sitting or standing, the SX Venom feels legitimately full size. Adding to this impression is a noticeably long seat. We suspect the seat would easily carry 2 for trail riding forays. The question begs to be asked whether the SX Venom can accommodate smaller stature and younger riders as easily as the Indy Evo. It's our opinion that the SX Venom's ergos are more biased to adult-sized pilots than the Evo. While this might skew the target audience for this sled, we think it's not as big a detractor as some might assume. For those students of snowmo history, the SX Venom appears to be a dimensional carbon copy of Skidoo's mid-00s freestyle model. That sled has gained a strong following with younger riders since its discontinuation, to the point resale values of freestyles are disproportionately high. Riding the SX Venom puts it into perspective. The sled displays a spirited, if not peppy, response to throttle inputs. The sled will pull almost 70 miles per hour down the lake. Performance here is a notch above a performance-kitted Evo. The SX Venom's exhaust valve-equipped 400cc single belies its 65 horsepower. The available power is more consistent than a fan cooler like the Evo. Even full-size pilots can have a credible measure of fun on the SX Venom. Because the chassis and engine are inherently light, the sled can be plied briskly on twisty trails. Simply moving your body to respond to turns and bumps produces a satisfying and immediate response. The chassis is very rider reactive. With a more sophisticated power plant than its only competitor and full-size ergos, the SX Venom may be able to hit 2 audiences at once. It is conceivable an SX Venom could fill the role of second sled, making it useful for smaller stature and youth riders, as well as a capable ride for weekend guests at the cabin. No matter how you plan to use an SX Venom, you can expect giggling intense enough to make ice cream come out of your nose every time you ride it.
If you like what you've just seen, click the subscribe button and comment below. And make sure you check out all of our great videos on SnowTrax TV's YouTube channel.